Good evening. This is CTV News for Wednesday, January 8th. I'm Patricia Ballone. Thank you for joining us. Well, the president addresses the nation after Iran launches more than a dozen ballistic missiles at Iraqi bases housing U.S. troops. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei called the attack a slap in the face to the United States and says the U.S. should end its presence in the region. The move comes after President Trump authorized the drone strike that killed Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. In his address this morning, Trump says his response is to put new economic sanctions in place.
We suffered no casualties. All of our soldiers are safe, and only minimal damage was sustained at our military bases. Our great American forces are prepared for anything. Iran appears to be standing down, which is a good thing for all parties concerned and a very good thing for the world. As we continue to evaluate options in response to Iranian aggression, the United States will immediately impose additional punishing economic sanctions on the Iranian regime. These powerful sanctions will remain until Iran changes its behavior.
And this is Iran's first direct attack on the U.S. since the 1979 U.S. Embassy hostage crisis. Well, lawmakers and state officials were back to work at the State House today as the new legislative session begins. For the first time in decades, there's new leadership in both houses of the Maryland General Assembly. KESHIA is in Annapolis with more.
The 2020 session of the Maryland General Assembly convened today. We spoke with officials about their top priorities for the next 90 days.
Welcome back to Annapolis. And on behalf of the entire administration, we look forward to working with you over the next 90 days.
There's new leadership in the state's capital as outgoing Senate President Mike Miller, who's battling cancer, stepped down, and former House Speaker Michael Bush died during the 2019 session. The new Senate President Bill Ferguson and House Speaker Adrienne Jones gavelled in this afternoon.
As Speaker of the Maryland House of Delegates.
Congratulations, Madam Speaker.
Jones is the first woman and person of color to serve in this role. She says one of the top priorities right now is school construction.
If we can't ensure that every school in our state can open its doors and be ready to provide a world-class education to our children, we are failing.
County Executive Angela Alsobrooks also wants to pass legislation to renovate public schools in Prince George's County. Meanwhile, Prince George's County Delegate Darryl Barnes' main priority is helping small businesses.
We're putting in a bill that's entitled Net 15, and, which means that a company now gets paid in 15 days or less. So we know that that has been a hard burn for a lot of businesses.
State's Attorney AISHA BRAVEBOY says her first concern is expanding a law for hate crimes. This comes after a judge dropped a hate crime charge against Sean Urbanski, who was convicted of first-degree murder in killing Lieutenant Richard Collins III.
So that it's easier to prosecute cases that are based on hate as actual hate crimes, so that we can hold those defendants accountable fully for their actions.
Some of the other key priorities for the 2020 legislative session are banning e-flavored cigarettes, transportation, and health care. In Annapolis, KESHIA Butts, CTV News.
Now, Governor Larry Hogan was not present at the opening of the General Assembly session because he was at the Board of Public Works meeting, which is required under the state constitution. At today's meeting, in a 2-to-1 vote, Hogan's plan to add toll lanes to the Capitol Beltway and Interstate 270 was approved with some major changes. Those changes include a commitment to expand public transportation in Montgomery and Prince George's counties.
After 30 years of inaction and failure, our administration's 5 years of effort have finally paid off, and I'm very pleased that we've been successful in reaching a bipartisan regional consensus on building this critical plan. A plan which is supported by an overwhelming majority, 70% of the people in Maryland.
The Maryland Department of Transportation expects to award the first 50-year contract in May 2021. Officials say that contracts will be worth more than $9 billion, making them part of one of the largest public-private partnerships in the nation. Well, as the first legislative session of the year gets underway, dozens of activists are protesting Hogan's climate agenda. They're expressing concern over the governor's controversial highway expansion plan and his energy legislation, using the slogan, "Hogan doesn't care." Protesters say his plans don't phase out the use of coal and frack gas, which pollute the environment.
This would be an absolute disaster for the climate. It would not solve the congestion problem.
If you want more information, you can visit the Sierra Club website. A longtime aide to Governor Hogan is leaving her post this week to take a position with Transurban, a large transportation company that has expressed interest in a state highway project. According to Maryland Matters, Amanda Allen will become Maryland Government Affairs Manager for the company starting next week. Allen was hired as an assistant to the governor in January 2015, the month he was sworn in, and was promoted to Director of Intergovernmental Affairs in June.